Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Nesting Padasale. So this is the fifth part of the video coming under unit number 7, System Physiology Animal. So already we had dealt with the important concepts coming under a digestive system, excretory system and also other systems. So in this video we'll be detailedly explaining about endocrine system as well as reproductive system. So first thing you should know about the endocrine glands, hormones and their function as well as the structure. So this particular thing I had taken from Ganong's books only, which is an officially they had mentioned from this book only. Many question has been asked in respect to unit number 7, System Physiology Animal. So first you should know from the gland name and the hormone that has been produced from that particular gland. Next you should know about the major function and chemical structures. Okay, so I cannot able to cover all the thing. Okay, I just mentioned you few important hormone that you should definitely know. So first hormone is corticotrophin releasing hormone, which has been produced from hypothalamus, and the main reason is that this CRH causes the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone. Next hormone is dopamine, which is also called as prolactin inhibiting hormone, which is also produced from hypothalamus, and this particular hormone, as the name suggests, it will inhibit the secretion of prolactin. Next you can study, this is easy thing only. Next, with regard to posterior pituitary, two hormone will be produced. One is antidiuretic hormone, which is also called as vasopressin. Next is oxytocin. So antidiuretic hormone, as I mentioned you in the previous videos, it will increase the water reabsorption of the kidney as well as it will causing a vasoconstriction. So all this process will lead to an increase in the blood pressure when the blood pressure has been decreased in a particular patient or a person. Next, oxytocin, this particular hormone, it stimulates a milk ejection from the breast, as well as this oxytocin is also involved in uterine contraction at the time of childbirth. Next, thyroid hormone, that is thyroid gland, will produce two hormones, thyroxine and triiodothyroxine. Next is calcitonin. For first hormone, that is T4 and T3, are involved in increasing the rates of chemical reaction, as well as these hormones are important for increasing the BMI. Whereas this calcitonin, they actually promotes the deposition of calcium in the bone, thereby decreasing the extracellular calcium ion concentration. Okay. Whereas if you take the parathyroid hormone, which has been produced from parathyroid gland, and it controls the serum calcium ion secretion by increasing the calcium absorption by the gut and kidney and releasing the calcium from bone. So you should know this thyroid hormone, they are involved in depositing the calcium from the bone and decreasing the extracellular fluid calcium ion concentration. Whereas this parathyroid hormone, they actually increases the extracellular fluid calcium ion concentration by releasing the calcium that are stored in bone. Okay. Next, kidney secretes three hormone, renin 1,25 dihydroxychlorocalciferol and erythropoietin. Renin, you all know it will be, and under the help of this renin, which is an aspartyl protease enzyme, the angiotensinogen will be converted into an active form of the enzyme. Whereas this 1,25 dihydroxychlorocalciferol, it will increase this again intestinal absorption of calcium as well as bone mineralization. Next, EPO, which is a hormone which is involved in increasing the erythrocyte production. Next, from heart also one hormone has been originating, that is adrenergic peptide, which I had mentioned you detailing in my previous video. Next, stomach secretes gastrin hormone and small intestine will be secreting a secretin hormone. So gastrin, I already dealt with the digestive system, friends. So gastrin will stimulate the HCl secretion by parietal cell. Next, the secretin will stimulate the pancreatic acinar cells in order to release bicarbonate and water, which are helpful for digestion. Next, the adipocyte will be secreting an important hormone called leptin, and this hormone, they inhibit the appetite and as well as they will stimulate the process called thermogenesis. Next, the factors and conditions that will increase or decrease the insulin secretion. So these are the factors that are actually increasing the insulin secretion. That is, in case of insulin, increased blood glucose, increased blood free fatty acid, increased blood amino acid, and the increase in amount of gastrointestinal hormone like gastrin, CCK, secreting gastric inhibiting peptide, and increase in glucagon, growth hormone, cortisol hormone, and also in addition to that, parasympathetic stimulation, that is increase in acetylcholine receptor and beta adrenergic stimulation, insulin resistance, and also under the condition of obesity and sulfonylurea drugs usage and all, the insulin secretion will be increased. Okay. Next, the condition which decrease insulin secretion include fasting and the presence of somatostatin hormone and alpha adrenergic activity. So beta adrenergic activity will increase the insulin, whereas alpha adrenergic activity will decrease the insulin secretion, and also the presence of leptin hormone. So leptin are mainly produced from adipocyte cells and also enterocytes in the small intestine. So these leptin are, the main role or main function of this leptin is that maintaining the body weight on a long term basis. Like high leptin level will tells the brain like your fat cells are full, which makes you to less hungry, which this particular hormone is currently employed for all those weight loss programs. Next, the chemical classification of hormones. So hormones are classified into lipid soluble and water soluble. Lipid soluble is classified into two types, steroid hormone and thyroid hormone. All our steroid hormones will be derived from a cholesterol, so that's the reason why they are getting steroid hormone, whereas thyroid hormone are synthesized by attaching the iron to the amino acid called thyrosin. Next, what is soluble hormones are classified into amine hormone and peptide hormone or protein hormone. So amine hormone, they are synthesized by either by decarboxylation or modification of certain amino acids. Like catecholamines like epinephrine and non-epinephrine as well as dopamine are synthesized by a modifying amino acid tyrosine. Whereas if you take histamine, these histamine are produced from amino acid histidine by mast cell and platelet. And serotonin and melatonin are being produced from tryptophan hormone. Next, with regard to peptide hormone or protein hormone, which is nothing but they are actually an amino acid polymer. So small peptide hormone consists of 3 to 49 amino acid, whereas the large peptide hormone consists of 50 to 200 amino acid. So peptide hormone example include ADH and oxytocin, whereas protein hormone they include human growth factor, insulin. Okay, and several protein hormone like your thyroid stimulating hormone, that is TSH, which has been produced from anterior pituitary, they have an attached carbohydrate group. So that's the reason these hormones are being called as glycoprotein. So these are the, again I had given you specific thing like thyroid hormone will be synthesized from thyroid gland, and cortisol, mineralocortisol are being produced from adrenal cortex, and vasopressin is produced from posterior pituitary, and parathyroid hormone is produced from parathyroid, and insulin is produced from pancreas. Next, thyroid hormone, the actual mechanism is that it will control the basal metabolic rate in most of the tissue, whereas this cortisol, it is involved in energy action, as well as this cortisol is having permissive action and other hormone like adrenocorticotropic hormone as well as corticotrophic releasing hormone. So maybe in the upcoming videos, upcoming slides, I'm going to explain you in detail. Next, it's mineralocorticoids. These hormone, that is ACH, mineralocorticoids means classified into ACH. Okay, they regulate the plasma volume via effect of serum electrolytes. Next is vasopressin. Again, they are regulating the plasma osmolality. Next, the parathyroid hormone, they are involved regulating calcium ions level as well as phosphorus ion level. Whereas this insulin, they are involved in regulating the plasma glucose concentration. Next, the next important topic is physiological effect of glands of thyroid gland. So you should know what the thyroid gland have its mechanism or physiological effect in different things. So here the target tissue effect and mechanism. So first target tissue of thyroid gland is scar. The tissue, the effect name is chronic and inotrophic, whereas adipose tissue, muscle, adipose tissue and muscle, this thyroid gland will be acting as a catabolic effect. In bone and nerve system and all, this thyroid gland will be helpful for development of bones and nerve system. And in gut and lipoprotein level, they are having a metabolic effect, whereas others are include calorogenic effect. So with respect to the heart, they increases the number of beta adrenergic receptor. These receptors are involved in regulating the cardiac function. Next is also increase the response to circulating catecholamines like your norepinephrine, which are important in providing a vasoconstriction or vasodilation effect, which are important in reducing or increasing the blood pressure. Next, they increase the proportion of alpha myosin heavy chain activity. Next, in respect to adipose tissue, they stimulate lipolysis, and in muscle, they increase the protein breakdown. And with respect to bone, they will promote a normal growth and skeletal development. And in nervous system, they promote a brain development. So thyroid gland, the hormones that secreted by thyroid gland like a thyroxine are important for the normal development of brain. Next, gut. From gut, this thyroid gland hormone will increase the rate of carbohydrate absorption. Next, lipoprotein, they will be forming a LDL receptor, so to uptake a LDL. Next is calorogenic effect include, they will stimulate the oxygen consumption by metabolically active tissue and also increase in the metabolic rate. So the next, the thyroid hormone also other functions include, they will increase the transcription of large number of genes. So you know thyroid hormone, thyroxine and triiodothyronine, they will readily diffuse to a cell through the cell membrane, and this T4 will be converted, that is they will be deiodinated under the influence of iodinase enzyme to form T3. Okay, and this both T3 will interact with the thyroid hormone receptor. Okay, so this thyroid hormone receptor, which is shown in this particular thing, will be present inside the nucleus, and they are not alone. They will be forming a chain with the retinoid X receptor. They will be forming a heterodimer. Okay, then they will be activating a gene for thyroid hormone response element. Okay, and as once this particular gene has been activated, then they have these many things, that is synthesis a new protein which will have action on these things. So with respect to cardiovascular thing, and again I mentioned you earlier, in cardiovascular they will increase the cardiac output, they will increase the tissue blood flow, as well as they will be increasing the heart rate and tissue rate and respiration. Metabolically, this after the process, all this process, they will be important in increasing the mitochondrial function, oxygen consumption, glucose absorption, BMR rate increasing, and protein synthesis will be increased, lipolysis will be increased. Okay, so the next thing is that these are the chemical nature of all those hormones. So pituitary gland will be synthesizing by so then we'll be seeing the chemical nature of various different hormones. So here I had given you all the glands for your help, for your reference, friends. Okay, so here, so peptide class of hormones include oxytocin, ADH, ACTH, calcitonin, parathyroid hormone, and thymosin. Okay, the thymosin is a hormone which will be produced from thymus gland. Next, the polypeptide class of hormone will include secretin, CCK, gastrin. Next, the amine group of hormone include melatonin, epinephrine, and non-epinephrine. Next, the protein class of hormone include growth hormone, prolactin, insulin, glucagon. Next, the steroid class of hormone include glucocorticoid, mineralocorticoid, androgen and estrogens. Okay, your progesterone, testosterone will all be coming under steroid. Okay, and glycoprotein hormone include FSH, LH and TSH. Okay. The next thing is the cells and hormones of the anterior pituitary gland and their physiological nature. So these are the hormones that are being produced from anterior pituitary gland. Okay, so first somatotropes are the cell which will produce growth hormone called somatotrophin. Corticotropes are the cell which are involved in producing ACH or corticotrophin. Thyrotropes are the cell which are involved in producing THS or which is also called as thyrotrophin. These are thyroid stimulating hormone. Next, the gonadotroph. These cells will produce FSH and LS, and lactopes and mammotropes are the cells which are producing prolactin hormone. With respect to chemistry, this growth hormone, the chemical nature includes, these are single chain and made up of 191 amino acid, whereas this ACH, they are single chain made up of 39 amino acid, and THS, these are glycoprotein hormone made up of 2 subunit, alpha subunit which is made up of 89 amino acid and beta subunit which are made up of 112 amino acid. Next, the FSH, which is also a glycoprotein, consists of 2 subunits, same as equivalent to thyroid hormone. The next, luteinase hormone are also having a 2 subunit, but the only difference is that beta subunit is made up of 115 amino acid, whereas with respect to THS or LS it is made up of 112 amino acid. Next, the prolactin is also a single chain amino acid. Okay, it is made up of 198 amino acid. The physiological action include the growth hormone. They will stimulate the body growth as well as it will stimulate IGF-1, which is insulin growth factor 1, and it will also stimulate the lipolysis. Whereas this growth hormone also inhibit the action of insulin on carbohydrate and lipid metabolism. Next is adenocorticotrophic hormone. They will be stimulate the production of glucocorticoid as well as androgen by adrenal cortex. Next, they will be maintaining the size of zone of fasciculator and zona reticulus. Next, the thyrotropes, a thyroid stimulating hormone. They will be stimulating production of thyroid hormone which are produced from thyroid gland. Okay, so next they will maintain the size of follicular size. Next, with respect to follicular stimulating hormone and luteinase hormone, they will be stimulating the development of ovarian follicle. They will be regulating a spermatogenesis process as well as they will be causing the ovulation. They are involved in forming a corpus luteum, and they will be stimulating the production of both estrogen and progesterone by ovary, as well as they will stimulate the testosterone by the testes. Next, prolactin, it will be stimulating the milk secretion and production. Next, the hormone that use adenylyl cyclase as their secondary messenger. This include adenocorticotrophic hormone, angiotensin 2, which is present on action on epithelial cell, calcitonin, catecholamine, and also catecholamine beta receptor, and corticotrophin releasing hormone, FSH, glucagon, human chorionic gonadotrophin, luteinizing hormone, parathyroid hormone, secreting hormone, somatostatin hormone, TSH, and vasopressin, that is vasopressin V2 receptor, which is present on epithelial cells. All these hormone will be using this adenylyl cyclase-CAMP as a secondary messenger system, whereas these hormone will be using a phospholipase as a secondary messenger hormone, that is angiotensin 2, which is present on vascular smooth muscle cell, and catecholamine, that is alpha receptor of catecholamine. Next, growth gonadotrophin releasing hormone, growth hormone releasing hormone, oxytocin, thyrotrophin releasing hormone, and vasopressin V1 receptor, which is present on vascular smooth muscle cell. So V2 receptor of vasopressin, which is present on epithelial cell, will be using the adenylyl cyclase as secondary messenger, whereas the V1 receptor, which is present on vascular smooth muscle, will be using this phospholipase as a secondary messenger. Next, the feedback effect of thyroid hormone to decrease anterior pituitary secretion of TSH. Okay, so increase in thyroid hormone in the body fluid will ultimately decrease the secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone by anterior pituitary. So the THS is produced by anterior pituitary, whereas the thyroid hormone like thyroxine are produced by thyroid gland. Okay, so when the rate of thyroid hormone secretion rises to about 1.75 times than normal, means the rate of THS secretion falls essentially to 0. Okay, so the thyroid hormone level will be increasing, means then it will be ultimately signal the anterior pituitary to start decreasing the THS. Okay, so it is probable that increased thyroid hormone will inhibit the anterior pituitary secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone by directly acting on the anterior pituitary gland itself. Next, the mechanism of regulating glucocorticoid secretion, that is for glucocorticoid, which include your adenocorticotrophic hormone as well as corticotrophin releasing factor, which are being released from, that is corticotrophin releasing factor are being released from your hypothalamus, whereas this adenocorticotrophic hormone are released from your anterior pituitary. So both the hormone are regulated by an important hormone called cortisol. Okay, so hypothalamus produces corticotrophin releasing hormone, which will be stimulating the pituitary gland to secrete adenocorticotrophic hormone. Then this adenocorticotrophic hormone will stimulate the adrenal gland to make and release an important hormone called cortisol. Okay, so normally both the hypothalamus gland and the pituitary gland can sense whether the blood has an appropriate amount of cortisol, because cortisol is having an important regulatory factor. Okay, so if there is a too much cortisol or too little cortisol, means these glands will change the amount of both the corticotrophin releasing hormone and adenocorticotropic releasing hormone that is actually released. So this is actually called a negative effect. So here you can able to see cortisol will be produced. Okay, so if there is too much cortisol and too little cortical, then it will be signaling those glands to produce them in a little bit quantity. Okay, so this is what the inhibitory effect of cortisol on the hypothalamus as well as anterior pituitary will decrease the adenocorticotrophin secretion. Okay, so cortisol have direct negative effect, that is it will act on hypothalamus in order to decrease the formation of the CRF, that is corticotrophin releasing factor, as well as this cortisol is also having a negative effect of anterior pituitary gland to decrease the formation of ACTH. So both of this feedback loop will help to regulate the plasma concentration of cortisol. That is whenever the cortisol concentration become too great, then it feedbacks automatically reduces the ACTH hormone towards normal control level. Next, these are the summary effect of parathyroid hormone. So main effect of the increased parathyroid hormone secretion in response to decreased fluid calcium ion concentration. So this PTH will be secreted only when the extracellular calcium concentration is decreased. Okay, so first thing, this have an action on bone, kidney and intestine. So first, this parathyroid hormone will be stimulating the bone reabsorption as well as it will be increasing the release of calcium into extracellular fluid. Okay, so if the calcium ion started to decrease, then the signal will be sensed by calcium, that is CSIR, calcium sensing receptor. Then it will be increasing the amount of PTH. First it will be acting on bone to increase the bone resorption and calcium efflux. Next it will be acting on kidney. So with respect to kidney, this PTH will be increasing the reabsorption of calcium as well as it will be decreasing the phosphate reabsorption in renal tubule. So from renal tubule, more calcium ion will be reabsorbed back into the blood, whereas the phosphate ion reabsorption will be decreased. Okay, as a result, there will be a decreased excretion of calcium and increased excretion of phosphate. Okay, and also this PTH is necessary for conversion of 2,25 hydroxychlorocalciferol into 1,25 dihydroxychlorocalciferol, which in turn, okay, after the conversion, this 1,25 dihydroxychlorocalciferol will be stimulate the intestine to increase the absorption of calcium from the nutrient. Okay, all these action together will be a powerful mechanism of regulating the extracellular fluid concentration. Next, okay, so here you can able to see. Next is a physiological and biological action of epinephrine. So first, a biochemical action. What are the conditions or what are the factors that will be increasing the epinephrine hormone action? Means when the cyclic-CAMP level increases in muscle, triglycerol mobilization, glycogenolysis increases. Means these factor, if it is increased, then ultimately it will be increasing the epinephrine concentration. Next, the glycogen synthesis, that is these epinephrine will actually decrease the glycogen synthesis. Next, the physiological action of the epinephrine include, it will increase the glucose from liver as well as it will decrease the glucose from muscle, and also this epinephrine hormone increases the blood glucose level. So biochemical action of epinephrine include, it will increase the CAMP level in muscle, triglycerol mobilization and glycogenolysis. Okay, whereas it will decrease the glycogen synthesis. So next, the factors that stimulate or inhibit the secretion of growth hormone. So these are the factors that will stimulate the growth hormone secretion. So when the blood glucose is decreased or blood free fatty acid is decreased or blood amino acid like your arginine levels are increases, means in addition to the starvation, fasting, protein deficiency, trauma, exercise, excitement, testosterone concentration or deep sleep or growth hormone releasing hormone, if all the hormone are being increasing, it will be stimulating the growth hormone secretion. In addition to that, this ghrelin hormone, which is called as hunger hormone, which is involved in regulating the glucose homeostasis as well as by inhibiting the insulin secretion, and also this ghrelin hormone also regulates gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis, as well as this ghrelin hormone will be decreasing the thermogenesis. Whereas those factors that is inhibiting the growth hormone secretion includes your increased blood glucose level, increased blood free fatty acid, aging, obesity, growth hormone inhibitory hormone like somatostatin and somatomedians. So somatomedians are insulin-like growth factor that actually inhibit the release of growth hormone by directly acting on anterior pituitary, and thereby it also stimulates the secretion of somatostatin, which is produced from hypothalamus. Next, a chemical structure of antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. So both the oxytocin as well as antidiuretic hormone are polypeptide. So each contain a 9 amino acids. So their 9 amino acid sequence include vasopressin is made up of cysteine, tyrosine, phenylalanine, glutamic acid, aspartic acid, cysteine, proline, arginine and glycine. Okay, whereas this oxytocin is made up of same amino acid. Okay, so note that two hormone will be almost identical except that vasopressin, the phenylalanine and arginine are being replaced by isoleucine and leucine of oxidase. So here you can able to see the thing which is different, which is changed with respect to both the hormone I had highlighted. Next, the similarity of these molecules explain their partial function of similarities. Okay, so these are the things, friends. So the next video I will explaining you important concepts coming under reproductive system. So thank you, friends. Thanks for watching this video.